Welcome to Surviving the Side Hustle, the show where driven entrepreneurs share the real stories, the real honest struggles, and the hard-won secrets behind performing at their best. I'm your host, Rob Tracy, a personal performance strategist and the founder of TAPS Coaching, where I partner with entrepreneurs to turn real effort into real momentum. Every week, I sit down with an owner-operator who's building something of their own, and we get past the highlight reel to find out what's actually working. Because the truth is, most people don't need more. They need to pay attention to what works for them and do more of that. So whatever you're building, let's stop spinning and start winning. We'll jump into the show right after this. If you're an entrepreneur or owner-operator who's working hard but feeling stuck spinning your wheels instead of building real momentum, I'd love to help. I want to invite you to a free strategy session with one of our performance strategists. We'll help you see what's actually working, what's holding you back, and the clearest next step to get your momentum going again. To claim your free strategy session, head over to survivingthesidehustle.com/free call. Again, that's survivingthesidehustle.com/free call. We'd love to talk to you. And now back to the episode. Welcome back to another episode of Surviving the Side Hustle Friday Recap. I want to kick it off by quoting our interview guest from this week. He said, "Every human conflict in history, whether it's a war or a fight with your little brother, is the product of a dysregulated nervous system." And that is a big claim, and the guy who said it has the depth to back it up. His name is Christopher Gabriel, and he is an integrative health practitioner and performance specialist whose entire life's work is built around one idea: fix the root, not the symptom. Christopher runs a private practice called Life Science Performance, where he blends nutrition, behavioral science, and nervous system regulation to help people unlock a version of themselves that they did not know was being held back. And I'll tell you right now, if you're a high performer building a business on the side, this conversation is built for you. So, Christopher has spent years working at multiple levels of this industry, from his own private practice all the way up to sitting on science advisory boards, acting as a science officer for companies, developing products and technologies and biometrics. The guy has had his hands in a lot of different things, and that is the actual point here. Because this year, his word is consolidation. He made a deliberate decision to pull back in, to come back to the core of his work, which is the one-on-one and group practice where he feels his truest calling lives. And underneath all of it is this sweeping, almost audacious vision of global peace through regulation. The idea is simple to say and hard to fully absorb. If every person learned to regulate their own nervous system, the conflicts that we create at every scale would shrink. That is what he is building toward, one person at a time. Now, Christopher did not come into this work from the outside looking in. A lot of what he shared was earned through personal experience and through watching clients fight battles that they didn't even know that they were fighting. One of the things that hit me the hardest in this week's conversation was when he talked about how many people are walking around chronically sympathetically activated and they have no idea. They think the constant drive, the edge, the pressure that they feel is just how life works. And it's not. That sympathetic state, that fight or flight mode, is unsustainable. Christopher walked us through what happens when the system stays on for too long. Norepinephrine floods the body, the drive tips into anxiety, anxiety tips into depression, and the whole machine starts to shut down. And that is burnout. And what makes it so sneaky is that the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain where your best decisions actually get made, completely disconnects when you're in a state like that. You are running your business, your relationships, your life on the emotional brain alone, and you do not even know it. Hey, what's up? Sorry for the interruption. It's Rob. One quick thing before we keep going. If you're feeling stuck or like you've lost the momentum that you used to have, here's a simple, free first step. Take the assessment at gettheprime.com. In just a few minutes, It'll show you exactly where you're leaking momentum, so you can get that ball rolling again with the Prime app. It's completely free. So if you're new here, this is the best place to start. Go ahead to gettheprime.com and take the free assessment. All right, let's get back into it. So what is Christopher's actual secret? Well, what lets him perform at his best and help others do the same? It is structure in service of the nervous system, not productivity for its own sake. He talked about the Ultradian rhythms, these natural 90-minute cycles our brains run through all day, and how building your schedule around them instead of fighting them is the practical move. Get your 3 hardest cognitive tasks done in the morning. Taper the stimulus load across the day. Protect your wind down. Protect your sleep. He even does this with his 11-year-old son, using 45-minute blocks for screen time followed by a break so the brain can reset before coming back. And then there is the stillness piece, which honestly is one that got me because I used to meditate daily and got close to 300 days in a row and then just kind of drifted off. Christopher made the case that even 5 minutes of quiet, no input, no scrolling, no noise is the fertile ground for creativity, for emotional processing, for decision making with your full mind where it actually shifts on. The secret is not doing more, it is creating the conditions where your best self can show up consistently. So how does this relate to us as prime performers? Well, it maps directly back to the prime performance process, specifically around the principle of resilience. Here's how I think about it. You cannot change what you have not yet seen clearly. Christopher's whole approach starts with awareness, helping people recognize what their nervous system is actually in before they try to optimize anything else. That is the same sequence inside prime performance process. You do the inner audit first. You get honest about where your system is running hot or running on empty. And then you build from there. Resilience is not about grinding through the stress. It's about expanding your capacity to recover from the stress, to bounce back, to stay available for the long game. And Christopher's structured daily routine, his ultradian rhythm blocks, his deliberate stillness, all of it is resilience at practice, not a personality trait. You build it the way you build a muscle, intentionally, consistently, and over time. So if any of this stuff kind of interests you, or if this conversation lit something up for you, go follow Christopher Gabriel on Instagram. He's at Christopher Gabriel Health. On YouTube, he's under Life Science Performance. And if you want to learn more about working with him directly, his website is lifescienceperformance.com. He just launched a concierge model this year with 2 different tiers that include unlimited one-on-one sessions, diagnostic panels, gut microbiome mapping, comprehensive metabolics, then the entire works. This is high-level, personalized, root-cause work. So if you are serious about your performance, this is exactly the kind of support that moves the needle forward. I'll drop all the links in the show notes so you can get there the fastest. And Christopher, man, thank you again for coming on. I learned a lot in that conversation, and I know I'm going to be thinking about the fawn state in my prefrontal cortex for now on for a while too. Genuinely appreciate you sharing your time in depth with this audience, and I can't wait to have you back on for that part too. So for everyone listening here, this is the one thing I want you to sit with for today. You might be performing at a fraction of your actual capacity. And not because you lack that drive or the discipline, but because the system running underneath all of it has been stuck in survival mode. So before you add another habit or another goal or another task to your list, just pause. Get quiet for 5 minutes. Let your brain catch up. That might be the highest leverage thing that you do today. So go listen to the full conversation with Christopher at survivingthesidehustle.com. And if you're not following the show yet, now is a good time to do so you never miss another episode. Until next week, peace, peace, peace. All right, sweet. That's a wrap on this week's episode of Surviving the Side Hustle. If this conversation gave you something that you can use, would you do me a favor and follow the show? And then please leave a quick rating and review wherever you listen. It genuinely helps more entrepreneurs find these stories, and it helps spread the word of our guests. And if someone came to mind while you were listening, do us both a favor and share the episode their way. You can connect with me and find everything that we mentioned over at survivingthesidehustle.com. Until next time, remember, pay attention to what works for you, and then do more of that. That's how you stop spinning and start winning.